How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk a little bit more about the Olympics, more specifically the North Korea situation. And what I mean by that is how the mainstream media is depicting them and how they're treating them in their headlines. I'll place a few of the headlines on the screen before you everywhere. You're talking about CNN, ABC, et cetera, so on and so forth. They're basically drinking the proverbial Kool-Aid, talking about the cheerleaders, how they're stunning, talking about Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong. A lot of different things they're talking about, but what they failed to mention, what I've not really heard about, maybe they have talked about that. If they have talked about how North Korea is a brutal dictatorship, communist regime, please let me know in the comments below. But I've not really heard that be talked about too much. I've heard them basically be glamorized. Maybe that's despite Trump, because he has a lot of tough talk towards North Korea. You know, the whole rocket man kerfuffle and stuff like that. Maybe that's the cause. I really don't know why. But this article that you see the headline for over my left hand shoulder basically brings this whole hysteria that the mainstream media is feeding into about how North Korea is such a great place, and comparing Kim Jong-un's sister to Ivanka Trump. I mean, silly stuff. This article really brings it back down to reality and grounds it. You see the headline, what it says: North Korean Olympians have a 24/7 surveillance team who will tackle them if they try to run away. Yes, they do. Now, I will admit, when I saw the opening ceremony and I saw North and South Korea come out as one, that was a beautiful moment. You see the picture right next to me over my left hand shoulder. It has the Korean athletes. If you're not watching me, if you're just listening to me on your device, whatever it is, I'll let you know what's happening in this picture. They are in the Olympic stadium, I suppose. They have on big white coats that are pretty long, and it's cold, of course. They're like triple fat goose type things. And then aside from their long white coats, they have on black, skull caps to keep warm, and also black pants with black shoes with white soles. So this is the uniform to come out as, and they come under one flag. The flag right here, that is a Korea unification flag. It is a white background with a blue Korean peninsula right in the center of it to represent unification, rather than just having South Korea's flag or North Korea's flag. They have the entire peninsula in blue with the white background. So that was a beautiful moment. However, beautiful moments do not determine what the reality is on the ground in North Korea, or South Korea for that matter. And let's go to the actual article. Under the picture is a subhead. It pretty much outlines what I said. Athletes from South Korea and North Korea marched under the Korea unification flag at the 2018 Winter Olympics opening ceremony in Pyeongchang, South Korea. North Korean athletes are subject to round-the-clock security at the 2018 Winter Olympics in South Korea. Each athlete has a quote-unquote minder who will even follow them into the toilet, so the whereabouts can be guaranteed at all times. Athletes from North Korea are, quote, separated, unquote, from athletes from other nations. North Korea is paranoid that its Olympic stars could defect from the country. Now, why would that be a fear? Why would that even be a thing? I, as an American, I could pretty much go wherever I want to go. I didn't have to check in with people to, request permission to leave the state of Virginia or to even leave the country. I could just go as I please. As long as I have my passport and everything's good that way, it's fine. I never heard the term defect when it comes to a person leaving the U.S. or coming to the U.S. unless they come from a nation that is under strong dictatorship, communist rule, as is North Korea. You have to escape North Korea, as is the same with Cuba, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments below. But people talk about communism and how it's great. And when I say people, I mean those that are on the left primarily. They say communism is so great. But if that's the case, then why do you have to escape communism? Okay, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But let's get into the article to get a little bit more clarity as to what's happening with that whole kerfuffle in Korea. Olympic athletes from North Korea have to put up with extraordinary security measures that includes round-the-clock surveillance and separation from other nations. A report on CNN indicates that North Korea sent minders to follow its athletes and ensure they do not run away and defect, the process of abandoning one's country in favor of an imposing one. Well, that's kind of simplifying it right there. And when you say, because I can abandon the U.S. and it's not really a big problem if I go somewhere else that I prefer, but when you under a communist rule that says you can't leave, then basically defecting means escaping, okay, because you are essentially a prisoner of your country. Athletes from North Korea and South Korea marched together alongside each other at the 2018 Winter Olympics opening ceremony on Friday. They carried the Korea unification flag, waved to the crowds, and smiled at the cameras. But away from the cameras, there was no fraternizing. Athletes from North Korea are, quote, separated from other athletes, unquote, according to Lee Swing-sung, the South Korean police official in charge of Olympics security. So maybe they can't even talk to South Korean athletes away from their cameras, away from when they actually have to be doing whatever their job is. That's crazy. And I heard that there's a language barrier. Even if they can talk to South Koreans, it's a language barrier because South Koreans may have some more Western language in their language, even though, of course, they're going to speak Korean. The difference between North Korean language and South Korean language is different because of the isolation of North Korea away from the South. It's just going to be different. They're also physically different. People in North Korea tend to be much smaller in stature than South Koreans because of the nutrition that South Koreans get and North Koreans don't get. Like, I'm pretty sure you already know, North Koreans are pretty much starving up there. It's not the place you really want to be. I've heard it's almost like Haiti in certain situations where they have to eat the mud pies. That's how bad it is up there. So for them to even be at the Olympics is really a feat. And I've also heard that a lot of the people that you see, the cheerleaders and stuff like that, they get heavily screened for their looks, for their family background, and all of that. So all that you see in front of the camera is carefully orchestrated and choreographed for things to look good. So that's probably why they took Kim Jong-un's sister and put her out there in front of the cameras. They think, okay, she's mildly attractive. She's going to be great look for the camera. And it's crazy how you have our media falling for this obvious ploy to deceive the world, to make it seem like North Korea is this great place to be. But I digress. Let's get back to the article. Additionally, the 500 people sent by North Korea will have been designated 3 different statuses, according to Han So-hee, a former cheerleader who defected from North Korea in 2006. She said there are, quote, party members, unquote, i.e. athletes, administrative members who are the officials, and then, more troubling, security members. The security members, likely minors and informants, surround the athletes at all times. Their task is to ensure nobody defects because it would be a huge embarrassment for the North. If one of them tried to run away, they would likely be tackled before they could get very far. So I can't really tell in this picture who are the athletes or who are the security. You know, and then my thing is, okay, what's to prevent the quote unquote minder from defecting themselves or to help another fellow North Korean defect? Kind of like the Underground Railroad, right? Maybe they have their family hostage, because I heard that they do that as well. If you do something in North Korea, like let's say you try to defect, they might come after your whole family and put them in some kind of camp, hard labor, or kill them. That's what I've heard. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true, but that will make sense as to why people don't try to run away that are the minors, because I don't suppose the minors get treated that much better than the actual athletes or the normal everyday person in North Korea. But let's get back to the article. And you see the picture right here on the screen before you. North Korean athletes, it says that they're under constant surveillance. Traditionally, athletes bunk with their teammates in 2-bed apartments in an Olympics village. This is not the case for North Koreans. No, Olympic competitors from North Korea housed at the Gwangyong Olympics Village will be shacked up with their own minder who will go to extreme lengths, like following them into the bathroom to guarantee their whereabouts at all times. In this report, CNN stressed that defections would be unlikely. Of course it's going to be unlikely because, number one, they probably have them under the threat of some kind of violence, some kind of harm will come to them or to their family if they try to leave. And then number two, they, have probably been told their whole lives that defecting is against what the Korean people do. They probably have been brainwashed from a very young age to believe a certain thing that is not true, but which will keep them under a constant state of subservience to the regime. And that's pretty much what that is. Now, I'm not going to read too much of this next article, but I just want you to see this from CNN, the Clinton News Network, Con Artist News Network. Kim Jong-un's sister is still in the show at the Winter Olympics. So that's her right there. They're calling her the North Korean Ivanka Trump. I mean, this is crazy. Let's read a little bit of this right here. Not too much, but a little bit. I'm about to wrap it on up. It says, if diplomatic dance were an event at the Winter Olympics, Kim Jong-un's younger sister, will be favored to win gold. With a smile, a handshake, and a warm message in South Korea's presidential guest book, Kim Yo-jong has struck a chord with the public just one day into the Pyeongchang Games. I hope Pyongyang and Seoul get closer in our people's hearts and move forward. The future of prosperous unification, she said in her guest book message, referring to the capitals of North and South Korea. Seen by some as her brother's answer to American first daughter, Ivanka Trump. I told you, I'm not lying. They're trying to say that she's like Ivanka Trump. I mean, really, come on. Kim, 30, is not only a powerful member of Kim Jong-un's kitchen cabinet, but also a foil to the perception of North Korea as antiquated and militaristic. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the minders that have to be bunked up with the Olympians that will even follow them into the restroom where they go to defecate, urinate, or whatever. I think that might be a reminder of how militaristic and communist dictatorship, how much of that is actually in North Korea and how much of that mentality dominates the country rather than just, any kind of rhetoric or talking from anybody in the West. But I digress. But as North Korea's brutal dictator, Kim's brother has ruled with an iron fist since coming to power, operating Nazi-style prison camps, repressing political oppression, and even executing senior officers and his own family members in an effort to consolidate power. And that's pretty much what that is. You can see the pictures here. I guess this is Team Korea. This might be North and South together. I can't really tell. If you were to look a little bit closer, you'd probably be able to see the physical differences between them. Like I said, North Korea, the nutrition is just not there the way it is in the South. So there's going to be physical differences. There will also be language barriers. Although they both speak Korean, it's much different. It's just like if you talk to somebody that's from the South, they have a very deep accent, you may not be able to understand them. If you are somebody that comes from the North with, a strong Italian accent, but it's probably even deeper than that because the North, like New York, is much more open to the world, as is the South. But the North of Korea is not open to the world at all. It's basically like a cocoon. Although it has Japan next door, South Korea to the south, Russia and China on its border. So that's her right there. They're trying to say that she is like the new Ivanka or whatever. Here's the Kim Jong-un family tree. This is, one of the people that got executed by Kim Jong-un. I did not know he was married and had children. That's very interesting. But yeah, this is really a mess. They like I said, here they go again, doubling down, calling her North Korea's Ivanka Trump. It's really a mess. So I really don't understand what's the problem, what's the point here as I close. I don't understand what's the point of trying to label North Korea as this great place to be, as a place that has, like modern type government going on or non-repressive government going on. I can't really call it, but whatever it is, it's not fooling me, but isn't fooling you. Do you think that I'm correct with my assertion that this is just a silly thing that the mainstream media is trying to do? All these places, I would expect a place like a far leftist website, maybe like Vox or some of these other Mother Jones, Jezebel, places like that. I would expect them to do something like that because that's what they do. They engage in the uber leftist shock headline type stuff. So I would expect them to do that. But come on, CNN, even for CNN, this is pretty low. CNN has really just become a shell of its former self. They used to be a respectable news organization, but they are not that any longer. Maybe it's a Trump derangement syndrome. I can't call it. But do you disagree? Do you think that North Korea has a great government, great leadership, nothing's wrong, nobody's starving, they got electricity, they got the internet, they're not cut off from the rest of the modern world? Their dictator is not a problem. He didn't kill his own family members. Is that what's going on? Do you think the U.S. is worse than that? If you think that the U.S. is worse than North Korea, where would you rather live? Would you rather live right here in the U.S. of A, or would you rather live in Pyeongchang, North Korea? Whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.